Good morning and welcome to another video here in India. Today we are in the city of Moradabad, and Moradabad is not a city that most tourists or most foreigners actually come and visit. However, this is a place with some incredible street food, and for breakfast I want to try some of the street food that is on offer here in Moradabad. So I think we're going to go ahead, start with some breakfast, and then we're going to see how the day progresses and see what foods we're going to try here in the city. It's going to be an incredible day. The city has some great food. So with that, let's go ahead and let's get started. Now for the first stop today, we've got to try one of the most classic things here in Moradabad, and that is jalebi. But before we actually eat it, it's important that we learn a little bit more about the process. So here we have the chef. He is making some incredible jalebi. You can see he's got a big vat of batter over there, and what he does is he literally pours just a little bit. I think here he goes again. Look at that master right there. He's got it all wrapped up so perfectly. And what he's gonna do is that he is going to slowly just put that right into the piping hot oil right where he does. It's gonna fry, it's gonna stay there, and then eventually it's gonna float up to the point where they can then just flip it over and then fry both sides of it until it's perfectly crispy. Alright, so the first thing that we've come here for is something called Dal Jalebi. Now we've seen the jalebi being made, but the interesting thing is that here in Moradabad, not do they only have jalebi, but jalebi is served with dal, which is a very interesting combination. Usually jalebi is a sweet combination, but here in Moradabad they serve it with a savory dal, which makes it very interesting with lentils. Now we've come here to a place known as Prem Sweet House. First off, look at just how packed that place is right over there. It is super busy. Early in the morning there are people queuing up, lining up for some dal jalebi. I want to understand why that is the case, but first, we've talked about the jalebi, it's time for us to talk about the dal. He literally has a massive vat of dal just cooking in there, and then he adds a bunch of spices. He adds chili flakes, he adds some chutneys, he adds another, and then the best thing is he squeezes it with a little bit of lime and puts a slab of butter on top to make it one of the most incredible things. At this point, the butter has literally melted into the dal because it's so hot and the butter is so freshly cold that it's just basically dissolved into the dal. But the way to eat this is very interesting. You're going to take one piece of jalebi, which by the way you can see now it's no longer those long massive chains of jalebi. They've cut them up into smaller pieces now, so it's more manageable for you to eat. And then with that, you're going to go ahead, dip it in the dal, and you're going to try some. So with that, let's go ahead. We're going to try this piece of jalebi. This is literally just freshly frying in that vat of oil right over there. We're going to dip it right inside of the dal itself. It seems like a very interesting combination, but let's go for it. Oh, wow. That surprisingly works very, very well. I am so surprised by the actual flavor of the dal. It's sweet, it's savory, it's got a bit of saltiness to it, it's got a bit of spice to it, but it actually works out really well. I think inside the dal, they've added some chutney that makes it a little bit sweet, so a little bit of sweetness that complements the jalebi really well. But the jalebi itself isn't actually very sweet, it's actually just crunchy. It's almost like a crunchy base on which you can dip the dal inside. The chili flakes, the butter, all that spicy, rich, oily goodness obviously makes the dal really nice. But with that bit of green chutney, with that bit of flavor on top, it makes a bit of sweetness, a bit of saltiness, and a bit of oiliness and spiciness that complements it all together. This dish has all the flavors you could ask for. It's got even a bit of sourness from the lemon, got a bit of acidity that is squeezed right on top. So it's got all the perfect flavors you need. It works out really, really well, and it's actually something that you can only find here in Moradabad. You're not going to find this in other parts of India. You're not going to find this in Rajasthan or Delhi. This is something you only find here in Moradabad, in this place. I think they do a pretty good one. I have to say, surprisingly really good. I was skeptical at first about how this would work out, but having tried it out myself, I can say this is probably one of the best combinations you could ask for here in India. Wow, that is how you do breakfast here in Moradabad. This place, Prem Sweets, they do some really, really good food. Could I have that every day? No, it's really, really heavy. The dal, the lentils, it will definitely fill you up with the spices and the butter. You're not gonna wanna eat that every day. But once in a while, a little treat here in Moradabad, that is the way to do it. Dal jalebi, absolutely delicious, sweet, a little bit of acidity, a little bit spicy, all the greatest combinations of flavors that you could ask for. But that is gonna stuff me up. That is a very heavy breakfast. So we're gonna wait a while and we're gonna see what else we can eat here in the city of Moradabad. now evening time here in Moradabad. And as you can probably tell, the next time we're eating is evening time. That Dal Jalebi from the morning really stuffed us up. But whenever we come here, we come to a place called Chef Nepal, Taste of Nepal, and they do some really good Nepali food. But what's interesting is if you look over there, you can see they've won so many different awards over there. There are tons of awards at this place, and this is a local recommendation where it's supposed to have some of the best momos you're gonna find. Now, momos is something I've been dying to try here in India for a very long time. It's originally Tibetan, but you can find them all across India, and they're almost like a sort of dumpling. Now, you can get them in different ways. You can get them steamed, you can get them fried, you can get them in sauce with gravy. There's many different options, many different ways you can have momos. But here, I decided to get the traditional one here in Tibet. The traditional way is to get it steamed. So with that, we've got some momos, and it also comes with 3 different sauces. It comes with a chili sauce, it comes with a yellow sauce, and it comes with a white sauce. All of them look incredible. Now, the one I've got is a vegetarian momo. You can also get quite a few options. You can get ones with paneer, which is cheese. You can get some with some other ingredients. So there's a wide variety of which momos you can have. But we've got the traditional one, the simple vegetable ones. These are the traditional ones from Nepal. And without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one. Look at this momo. It is so freshly steamed, you can tell. I'm going to go ahead, dip it in that red chili sauce. Oh, it's gonna literally break in my hand. That's how gentle, you have to be gentle with these momos or else you're literally gonna break it. Let's go ahead and try it out. Okay, first off, before I even talk about the momos, let's talk about that sauce. That is a very spicy chili sauce. It's salty and it's spicy at the same time, but it's the type of spice that hits you right at the front of your mouth. It is very, very intensely spicy. I mean, you can even see the chili seeds on the actual red sauce. You know it's a spicy chili sauce, but you can actually see the seeds of the sauce. The momo itself is really nice and soft. You can tell that they put cabbage in it, but it's a very, very nice, soft, and the skin of the actual momo itself is very, very small. It's a very thin layer. That's always a good sign. You don't want a momo that is too thick. You don't want a momo that is overwhelmingly more dough than it is filling. You want more filling than it is dough. And here at this place, they've done a fantastic job of making sure that the momos are the right size, they're the right portions, and they're making sure that the ingredients are all balanced out perfectly so you're not getting too much filling or too much skin. Really, really well done. I see why there's a reason they win this award here in Moradabad, and it is an incredible place. It gets pretty busy, as you can see. There are kids lining up here. A lot of people come here to have momos, especially late at night, and they're open pretty late too, so it's a great option for a late night snack here in Moradabad. Now, with that, we're not going to end the video. We've still got another day here in Moradabad, so I'm going to continue this food tour of this city tomorrow, and we're going to explore some of the other food scenes, the other food sites here in the city. It's exciting because Moradabad has so much more food to offer, so I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Well, good afternoon guys, and welcome back to the next day here in Moradabad. Again, we will continue our food tour here. It's a bit of a late start today, but nonetheless, we are going to try some incredible food here in Moradabad. So without further ado, let's go ahead, let's get started, and let's try the food here in this city. Alright, first stop of the day, we've come to a place serving the famous Multani Chole Chawal. Actually, this place is called the Multani Chole Chawal Center, but it doesn't really have a name. It's just one of the most famous legendary shops, and apparently this is the old location. They have a new location, but this one is the famous old one. Now, what is Chole Chawal? Chole Chawal is as simple as chickpeas with rice. That's what it is. But apparently here, the flavor that they put into the Chole Chawal makes it absolutely incredible. Let me just say, just by looking at it, you can tell all the different things that are in it. You've got chickpeas, you've got rice, but on top of that, you've got fresh onions, you've got some sauces, you've got some chutneys, you've got all these different flavors, and when he's making it, you can literally tell, like, he spices up the rice, he adds some flavors, he adds a bit of chili. There's so many things going on in this Chole Chawal that this is one of the most legendary stalls. It's a random afternoon in the middle of the week, and still so many people are queuing up in order to get the Chole Chawal. So that is a sign for how famous this place is, how legendary this place is, and it's one of the institutions for food here in Moradabad. But with that said, it's time for us to actually try the actual Chole Chawal itself. Now, first things first, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get a nice big scoop of the rice, the chole, and the onions. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Oh. That is the definition of comfort food. There's so much warmth, so much heat, so much flavor coming from that. So first off, you've got the chole. You can see the chole is cooking in there to the point where the chickpeas are very, very soft. It comes with a very nice sort of spicy flavor, but it's actually not too spicy in a lot of ways. More than anything, the chickpeas are cooked in a sort of saltier sort of sauce than it is actually spicy. The rice has an incredible flavor to it. It's got a little bit of seasoning, but at the same time, it serves as a great base to absorb all the chutneys, all the flavors. And then on top of everything, you've got a bit of acidity. I think they just put a little bit of lemon juice or lime or something like that, just to give it a little bit of acidity. And then of course, you've got onions, which add a nice freshness, a nice crunch, a nice bit of acidity from the onion. Together, that creates one of the best food combinations you could ask for. More than anything, it's just warm, good, comfort food. It makes you feel like you're at home. It makes you feel like it's home-cooked food. It's just really comfortable. It's very simple, right? It's just rice and chickpeas. There's nothing very difficult about it. There's nothing very complicated about that. But the flavor, the depth of the flavor, the way they've been cooking those chickpeas for such a long time, that's what makes it incredible. For me, one of the simplest, one of the best foods to have here in Moradabad. It might be simple, but the flavors there are absolutely incredible, and that's what makes this place so famous here in the city. Alright, now in addition to the actual Chole Chawal itself, what comes complimentary with Chole Chawal is some soup. And they actually have the soup in these little cups. Now at first, when I saw them making it, I thought they were making chai. But I'm very, very wrong. They're actually making soup here. What they do is they use the actual liquid from the cooking of the chickpeas, the chole. And then they add a few other things. They add some lemon, they add some spices. And then you have a complimentary soup with your Chole Chawal. Now everybody is drinking this soup around me. Everyone is just sitting around. After they have the Chole Chawal, this is the drink you're supposed to have. So with that, let's go ahead and try out the soup. Oh wow. It's actually a very nice, simple soup that's quite clear in flavor. You can taste there's a bit of other things. For example, there's a bit of lemon that they put inside. There's a few spices in there. But I have to say, it's not the most flavorful soup. In fact, the actual Chole Chawal is more flavorful itself. This soup is almost like a refreshing sort of way to cleanse your palate after having such a very heavy Chole Chawal. I really like it, but in my opinion, the Chole Chawal is actually better than the soup. But it is a nice sort of almost like watery drink to have. They add a few things in it, but it doesn't change the flavor that this is a very, very nice soup to have after your Chole Chawal. Alright, next stop of the day. We've come to a place, well actually it's not really a place, it's a cart. He's literally a cart. And this guy, he is the Buddha Vala. He is the guy that sells Buddha. Now Buddha is a classic street food that you'll only find here in Moradabad. You literally won't find it anywhere else in India. What is Buddha? It is the way they do corn here in Moradabad. They add a bunch of spices, they add masalas, they make it super, super flavorful, and then you're supposed to eat it that way. Now, to be completely honest, I am not the biggest fan of corn. I haven't always liked corn, and even when I went to Latin America, I didn't eat corn that much. However, I am curious to see how Buddha is here in Moradabad because I've heard this is amazing. This is supposed to be one of the best ways to do corn here in India, and with all the spices and the masalas, it'll be an interesting way to see how Buddha is here. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and try Buddha. First off, let me just show you this massive entire tray. I mean, not a tray, a whole wok full of corn inside here. It is a massive tin of all this corn inside. That's how he serves it. And the coolest thing is also he serves it on a leaf. So when you're getting it, you're not getting it on a plate. Here in Moradabad, when you serve Buddha, you get it on a leaf. So that is actually really interesting. So with that, let's go ahead. We're gonna grab our first piece of Buddha. It is very, very slippery almost inside this leaf, so you have to be careful with it. You can see all the different spices, the colors to it. It's a bit brownish, a bit reddish, all the different sort of flavors that have been put onto this Buddha. So with that, let's go ahead and try our first Buddha. I have to say, it's not as spicy as I thought it was going to be. It is nowhere near as spicy as I thought it was going to be. To be honest, it is like corn, with a few flavors that are put outside of it. I am not the biggest fan of corn. So to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Buddha. But the way they've done the corn is that they've really cooked it down. So the corn is no longer this sort of fresh, sweet sort of vegetable anymore. At this point in time, it's cooked until it's soft, mushy, and with all those spices on the outside, the entire texture of the corn has changed. It's an interesting approach to corn. I wouldn't say that I'm the biggest fan of Buddha, but I will say when you're here in Moradabad, this is an interesting way to go about trying some of the street food, because it is one of the simplest ingredients, corn, mixed with some of the many spices that you can find here in this city. Alright, final stop of the day. We've come to a place that is known for one thing and one thing only, Chaat. This is a store known as Murari Chaat, and apparently here in Moradabad, they serve some of the best chaat you're gonna find in all of Moradabad. So without further ado, let's go ahead, let's check it out on the inside. You can see this man is massively preparing all this food. It looks like heaven. So let's go ahead and let's try it out. Okay, so what have we come here to Murari Chaat for? We've got something known as Aloo tikki, which is basically a potato sort of patty. But they do a few things with it. They add quite a few sauces, they add quite a few salads on top. So basically, they're frying it in that massive sort of plate of oil that we saw over there. Then they add a bunch of different sauces. They're adding pomegranate sauce, they're adding a green chutney, they're adding a lot of different things until you get this incredible plate right here of aloo tikki. This is an incredible thing. I mean, this is literally cooked seconds ago right over there in the oil, and literally prepared seconds after that with all the different sauces that you need in order to make it good. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna mix in with some of the sauces, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and try the first aloo tikki here in Moradabad, getting some of the salad, some of the potato. Oh yeah, this looks like it's gonna be a good bite, but it is really hot because it was just fried up. So we're gonna be a little careful, and we're gonna take our first bite. Oh wow, that is incredible. It's got all the flavors you're looking for. First off, texture-wise, that potato is deep fried until it's super nice and crispy. So it's super nice, even with the sauces. It doesn't reduce the crispiness of the actual aloo tikki itself. It's fried to perfection. But on the inside, it's still really soft and fluffy. That potato still remains soft. It's almost like a croquette. You know, when you have a really nice croquette, it's really crispy on the outside, but really soft on the inside. Now on top of that, the flavors are incredible. You got a bit of sweetness from the pomegranate sauce, a bit of fruitiness there. You also got a bit of saltiness from the actual batter itself. The actual potato itself has a bit of saltiness in the aloo tikki. And then you've got some freshness from the salad. You can see there's some carrots, some cucumbers. That freshness adds another different dimension. It also adds a different crunch because these are fresh vegetables that they're putting right on top. Overall, this is an incredible little snack, and you can see literally the entire store. People are just standing and eating their aloo tikki. It's one of the most classic things that you have to try when you're here in Moradabad. But on top of that, we've also gotten a little drink. I think we've got a nice little juice here just to try it out. Let's go for it. Oh yeah, that is a nice, refreshing, sort of fruity mango drink, I think it is. But very nice and fruity. You need something refreshing like this on a hot day here in Moradabad. Having some nice aloo tikki with some chaat, and then of course some fresh sort of drink on the side. It's the perfect little snack, and you can literally see everybody just eating the food, just standing up, eating whatever they can buy here, and having a really good time here in Moradabad. Well, with that, I think this place right here marks the end of our street food tour here in Moradabad. We've tried so many incredible foods here in this city. From the very first thing we had, Dal Jalebi, yeah, a classic here in Moradabad, to the Buddha we had today, to the Chole Chawal, the chickpea and rice. There are so many classic things here in Moradabad, and maybe this city isn't the most exciting city, but when it comes to food, there are some incredible things that you have to try here that you're not going to find anywhere else in India. It's an incredible place to come try the street food, and literally you can see right now at night, all the street food stands are now setting up. There's just so much street food here, more than in some of the other cities I've seen in Rajasthan. So if you want street food, if you're a lover of street food, Moradabad is the place to go. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video right here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for a lot more food and travel videos from here in India. We're going to be going around this country. We're going to be exploring more places. So I hope you all stay tuned, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye guys.